Officially speaking, first contact with aliens still hasn't happened. Life on Earth is still the only confirmed life in the universe, and humankind is left to try and figure out how and why that could be. But of course, there have long been other theories afoot, including various ideas that not only is alien life out there, but that it's also calling the shots down here. This is Unveiled, and today we're answering the extraordinary question, is America controlled by aliens?
Do you need the big questions answered? Are you constantly curious? Then why not subscribe to Unveiled for more clips like this one, and ring the bell for more thought-provoking content.
Roswell, the Phoenix Lights, Bob Lazar, the Hill abduction, Luis Elizondo, Area 51. Everywhere you look, America is drowning in UFO folklore. From tin hat-wearing conspiracy theorists to genuinely unexplained occurrences, the alien story has many different chapters in this part of the world in particular. Ever since the UFO boom in the 1950s and 60s, the US has led the way. Today, film and television has done much to shape how we think about and believe in otherworldly beings. And America is appropriately the major player here as well. But is there more to the seeming obsession? Is America so interested in aliens because, actually, it really is guided by them? According to some, this is all so much more than simple science fiction. Rumors of extraterrestrial involvement in global affairs have somewhat come to the fore in recent times, not least thanks to comments made by the former Israeli defense chief Chaim Eshed. We've covered Eshed's claims in past videos, but for the purpose of today's question, the key takeaway is that he says that certain high-ranking citizens of Earth, including the US government, have already made contact with alien species. What's more, he claims that the aliens we secretly know about are also part of a wider galactic federation, a kind of galaxy-wide block of intelligent powers that Earth presumably hopes to one day join. Now, Eshed's claims have never truly taken off, even in SETI and ufology circles. Ultimately, there's very little, even zero evidence for anything he's said, besides the rest of the world just taking his word for it. And given that shortly after making his claims, he was the main subject of a freshly published book, the more cynical suggestion has always been that he was more interested in promoting said book rather than revealing anything that's actually true. But nevertheless, this isn't the first time that similar allegations have been laid at the door of the White House. Back in 2014, reports emerged in America highlighting how some major alien claims had recently surfaced in Iran. The Washington Post, Forbes, and others revealed how Iran's Fars news agency had published a story alleging that tall, white space aliens were running a shadow government in the United States. It was said that at the heart of the story were previously secret documents released by one Edward Snowden, the notorious NSA whistleblower who had, the year before, leaked extensive details primarily about far-reaching surveillance programs in the US and across the Five Eyes network. In this case, however, the Fars theory seemingly implied that America's mass surveillance was actually all part of a wider plan set in motion years before by an advanced alien race intent on conquering Earth. The story continued that the same alien beings had at one time assisted Nazi Germany prior to and during World War II. In the 1950s, however, it said that their attention switched to America, and they supposedly set up base in Nevada, a state that's also world famous as the home of Area 51. From there, in the decades since, the claims allege that this lodging alien race has been pulling the strings of international diplomacy, all in a bid to one day take over this planet completely. The former Canadian defense chief Paul Hellyer is also mentioned as a claimed supporting source, with Hellyer having made headlines in his later life for variously insisting that extraterrestrial powers have repeatedly visited Earth for years. During his time in office, Hellyer led an effort to build a UFO landing pad in Alberta, Canada, seemingly as a symbol of peace and friendship with any possible alien arrival. However, he became much more outspoken with UFO claims in the early 20th century, telling RT, the state-controlled Russian news outlet, that aliens from both within the solar system and from other star systems have contacted Earth before. The Fars story and Hellyer's claims have never really been backed up, however, and in fact have been widely criticized. In the case of the FARS story in particular, suggestions are that it was seeded by spy reports coming out of Russia in a bid to further sway readers against America. Again, much as with Chaim Eshed's revelations, there's a distinct lack of irrefutable evidence. And so the story quickly faded into the throng of conspiracy theory only. What's more, in the years since, Snowden himself has said on record that as far as he could tell, aliens have never contacted America or the world in general, which seemingly deals a big blow to any belief otherwise. Nevertheless, those beliefs have hardly disappeared, and have in fact emerged ever stronger more recently, thanks in large part to the US government and security agencies now speaking about UFOs more openly than ever before. Importantly, a UFO never immediately translates as a possible alien ship, but the alien conversation has clearly taken new shape nowadays. Not only is so much UFO footage now being captured within the military, but the leaks of that footage have sparked debate about just how much more there could be that's being kept from the watching public. The likes of Gimbal and Go Fast have quickly become iconic pieces of film, but we know that they aren't isolated incidents. In the 2021 UFO report, for example, released by the Pentagon under mounting pressure for full disclosure, the focus was on 144 UFO cases total, 143 of which it concluded were still unexplained. There are large and shadowy gaps forming then, significant gray areas in the Venn diagram of what the government knows, what the government doesn't know, and in how much of any of that gets revealed to the rest of us. What do you think could be happening within those gaps of knowledge? More broadly, there are a number of theories as to how or why an unseen alien force could exist. One version of the zoo hypothesis argues that aliens could be watching us from a distance, biding their time until we become advanced enough for them to reveal themselves. The lab hypothesis is a continuation of that theme, although with the more sinister undertones that distant aliens aren't only secretly watching us, they're experimenting on us too. However, neither can quite incorporate the claims made by Chaim Eshed, Paul Hellyer, or the FARS news agency. In those cases, if true, then watching aliens haven't kept their distance. They've journeyed to Earth, made themselves known to some of us, and have taken a very hands-on approach from there on out. In most other alien conspiracies, the state of Nevada is painted as though, in Area 51, it's hosting some kind of alien prison, where the US is secretly keeping specimens to study. However, here, it's more that there could be an alien base there, not for human research, but for ET interference in human society. The control totally switches hands. Crucially, there remains no real evidence that this is what's actually happening. The theories around alien control in America and on Earth in general are mostly baseless, or based on the words of just one person. As time goes on, it's become clearer and clearer that there is a lot that the government doesn't tell us and hasn't told us about the search for alien life. But it remains a stretch to say flat out that that's because it's actually a puppet of alien control itself. What's more, many of these theories almost come and go out of fashion, perhaps in part due to the bipartisan nature of US politics. The opponents of one administration might play the alien card against the government whilst that administration is in power, only to swiftly withdraw it should their preferred party win the next election. Clearly, there's a lot to consider here, and there do still remain plenty of gaps and gray areas in our knowledge. The world must keep asking questions and considering the alternatives. But for now, with so little by way of solid evidence, that's why it's wholly unlikely that America is controlled by aliens.
What do you think? Is there anything we missed? Let us know in the comments. Check out these other clips from Unveiled, and make sure you subscribe and ring the bell for our latest content.